So what's the reason that people don't tell other people that they're Jewish? There's lots of reasons. I know the reason that I did. I didn't tell people that I was Jewish because I didn't want to experience anything negative. My thought was my being Jewish is private and personal. It doesn't have anything to do with other people. Other people are not relevant in your Judaism, in your practice, or in your beliefs. It's not required that you be, you know, public about your Judaism for you to practice. You can practice privately, right? The reason that I didn't tell people is because I didn't want to experience the negative aspects of people knowing that I'm Jewish. There's just something about that I didn't want to deal with. I didn't want to have that going on. And there were many times when I thought, is that really a big deal? Like, is that really, is that really a lot? And I just decided that, you know what, I just don't want that kind of complication in my life. And then within these 4 years that I've been publicly, like, like I've been willing to actually say that I'm Jewish, I've experienced so much negative shit that it's so crazy that I like when you believe that something it wouldn't be good so you don't do it, but you don't know for certain because you didn't actually try. And then during these 4 years I've actually told people that I'm Jewish. I've actually made it obvious that I'm Jewish, and it's been horrible. It's been really horrible. So I don't know. I don't know why anybody would be confused as to why there are many Jews that don't actually say that they're Jewish. So they have all of these things that try to, like, basically, like, they try to figure out how many of a thing they have in the country or something like that. And like the number of Jews in America, blah blah blah. It's this minuscule number compared to how many Americans there are. But from a New Yorker point of view, but from the point of view of somebody who was born and raised in New York, it would seem like many more people in the world are Jewish than there are, because New York has a disproportionately large population of Jews. So for somebody from New York, they would believe that practically everybody is Jewish. Like every other person is Jewish, actually, from a New York point of view. But in actuality, that's not true. According to what they say, there's only a few million Jews in America. And the American population is somewhere between 350 and 400 million people. Could it be that there are more Jews than that, but they just don't say? That they're not willing to say? Maybe there are many more Jews than just a few million, but they're just not willing to say. So this idea of looking for a community, like, is it really important to live in a Jewish community? I've always wanted to do that, in the sense that I felt like this would be easier for me. But in actuality, in these 4 years, while living beyond a Jewish community, I've been able to keep kosher and to keep Sabbath, although it resulted in all of this bullshit. But I've been able to do that beyond a Jewish community. What I've realized is that I don't actually need to live in a Jewish community to keep my observances and to practice in the way that I would like to practice. I I thought that before. I sort of thought, like, there's no way that I could do that by myself. Like, I would need to live in a community that was geared toward that. There's no way that I could do that. But actually there is. And what I found is that the way to do that, it really is by becoming vegan. So if you just change your mindset, if instead of thinking about it as a religious thing and just think about it as something that's like basically a way of living your life, if you practice a vegan lifestyle, you can definitely be kosher beyond a Jewish community. All you would have to do, what I've really learned is that a lot of what goes on with living in a Jewish community, when it comes to your actual practice, as opposed to the social aspects of it. Of course, the social aspects of it, you would always want to have people who are socially appropriate for you, within proximity to you. But if you're not talking about the social aspects, if you're just talking about your practices, about actually the practices that would keep you within the scope of the 613 laws, a lot of that can be alleviated simply by choosing not to interact with animal products. Just don't utilize animal products anymore. Don't do that anymore. If you don't utilize animal products anymore, then you wouldn't be sort of like, quote unquote, dependent on hechshers and kosher this or kosher that. Um, and that's it. Just don't do that. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It seems strange, but that's what it would be. So once you get the animal products out of your life, then you wouldn't need the conveniences of having a of having a showket right in the middle of your community within walking distance of where you live or something like that. And if you don't feel like if you're not obligated to go to the shul, or if you're not studying in that way, or if you study on your own or something like that, you wouldn't need to be near a shul, like within however many steps of your house or something like that. You wouldn't need to do that. Um, Obviously, I mean, women are not obligated to do that, so that's okay. You can pray anywhere that you are. You know, that's perfectly fine. And if you're not the sort of person who is literally sort of like living your life on every single word that comes out of a particular rabbi's mouth, and that's not required of you either. There isn't anywhere in the Torah that says that you must actually, um, you know, allow a rabbi to tell you what you can and cannot do. There isn't anything in the Torah that says that. Then you wouldn't actually need to be there. The only thing that you would be feeling is the social aspects of it. It's like, is it important to you to have the social aspect and the access to social relationships that you would have in the Jewish community? That's a whole nother matter. There are people who live within those Jewish communities who are absolutely terrorized by the social aspects of that, in the sense that they literally can't be themselves. If you don't believe that a rabbi should be able to tell you every little thing that you do and decide if you do this or that, then you wouldn't move to a community that works that way. You wouldn't do that. There are some people who don't believe that the rabbi should be able to tell them every and anything that they do, but they do live in communities that are like that, and that's not exactly the happiest thing for them, right? So if you could choose ahead of time where you want to be and what you want to do, what would you choose?